Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. You can find me on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. Spelling GaelanTrombley. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. Welcome to episode 133 of the Galen Trombley Show. Today is a second time I think I've had a father-daughter on, but I'm super excited. I have John and Steph Demarais, so we have Big John. Does that make you Little Steph? Big John and Little Steph?
No, it's Lil.
Lil, like a rapper?
L-I-L, yeah.
Lil Steph. So we got John and Little Steph Demarais. We've had Steph on multiple times before. This is John's first time, and John did admit that he's listened to a couple of these, which... I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll take it.
It's absolutely true.
You're helping my download numbers.
And I'm not going to lie, I've been trying to get here.
Here, I'm going to have you. That's been on the goal. You've been trying to get on the show?
Trying to get here, yeah.
There you go.
Isn't everybody?
All you got to do is ask.
This is the talk of the town.
Actually, I shouldn't say a lot of people ask. I'm just like, I'll put you on a list. And then my list is, I do have a list, but like I said, I like to reach out to people I want to talk to. So you guys, the reason I had you on, obviously I love talking to Steph, but you guys are starting out this new venture, Rustic Pines, wedding venue. I'm a huge fan. As you know, I rubberneck a lot and drive by, I would say half a dozen or maybe more times over the last probably year and a half. So
been caught once.
Been caught once red-handed by John himself. So introduce yourself. People do not know who you are because I call you Miss like G. You're basically everybody there for the most part. GC, can we call you that?
Sure.
John
General
D.
contractor.
Yeah.
I mean, you got worked a lot. Your brothers have worked a lot. I know you've had other guys that have worked there, but I would say you're the guy up on the roof, down on the ground, doing everything. So
just a builder. I'm the builder. I'm the guy that gets blamed when
well,
things
his
go
technical
right.
name is the site coordinator.
Yeah.
That's his
I
business
do
card
have
name
a
for Rustic Pines.
Okay.
So I do have a title. I'd appreciate it if you use that.
It's the site coordinator.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the notes. Big John D, the site coordinator. So, kind of a background. You're grew up building. I mean,
yeah, that's what I've always done. I've been in the building since I was young. It's kind of my go-to thing. I've always loved it. I knew I was like a kid, little, that like just wanted to be a carpenter. That was my thing. Actually, I want to be a construction guy. And it kind of just, when you're not good at school and you don't have anything else, it's kind of a great dream that's probably going to come true.
So you were the kid that had like the toy tool belt and just turned into a big kid tool belt?
Absolutely. The Tonka trucks and all of that.
Was your dad in it? Or who taught you how to do stuff?
My stepdad was in it, and my great-grandfather was in it. I love to tell the story that I bought my grandparents' old farm on the Irish Settlement Road and moved these guys all back from California. And the little old front porch, which is going to be actually torn down at some point as soon as we finish the venue kind of took place. But I always say that I helped my great-grandfather building that. Okay, well, it's my great-grandfather, so I'm about, 4 probably.
Yep.
And I'm sure I was not much of a help. In fact, just the opposite. But I actually have his toolbox. Wooden toolbox from back in the day. So I really believe that was the moment in time that I knew what I wanted to do.
So at what age did you really start working like in the field?
Like I said, I worked with my stepfather, as a kid, doing the cleanup, doing this, started like around 12 years old, 13. And, during the summer times, there was always a neighbor that was working on something, here or there. And maybe it was a porch. Maybe I'd kind of wander over there and bother him to the point like he'd give me something to do to leave him alone. And I can remember we had a babysitter. I want to say I was in like 5th grade. And his name was... I believe his name was Mark Cobb, too. His son was Mark Cobb. And he built buildings, these little like porches or add-ons that people would have for mobile homes. And he had a little shop at his house. And he built these buildings. That was his thing. And would send them off to, whoever would buy them. We'd take all the scrap lumber and we'd build forts like all around the place. He'd come look at it. And I can remember one day we had built this, what seemed like a monstrosity. It was probably like a 10 by 10, right? Pretty big. I mean, pretty decent structure for little kids, right? And it had a sway to it. I mean, it's like these things were to kill all of us at some point. And he comes out to look at it. He's like, pretty good, guys, pretty good, but maybe a little cross brace like that, which is the foundation of any framing job or anything, is this cross brace to create some kind of shear value to building a wall. And he put it on there, and I still remember this like it was yesterday. I was this little kid nailing that thing on there like he told me, and it was like monumental. And to this day, as soon as I get to that point where I know I need something, that actually flashes in my mind. So it's kind of strange how the little things that we, along the path of our lives that we learn or we see or whatever, they either mean something or they don't. Sometimes we don't realize what they mean at the time. But as an adult now in the building business, I still refer back to that day. As soon as I get to that point in the job, I need a brace. That flashes in my mind.
So you were originally from here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you moved out to California.
Correct.
Okay. And then, like I said, you ended up moving back when from California?
I think it was just before 2000. So I want to say 99, I think, somewhere 99. I remember it was a big Y2K, fear and everything. I was like, well, I'm getting out of here at the perfect time.
And how long were you in California?
About 15 years.
And that was LA area?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I know you guys are Dodger people.
Oh,
You're a Laker
yeah.
guy too.
Big
Because
Dodgers and Lakers, man.
I think I see your social media. It's always one of the LA teams doing something. So
Yep.
at least you're good. You're not like a bandwagon guy. You lived through it. So
Absolutely. And I grew up, believe it or not, as a kid, as a Laker and a Dodger fan. And I was the only kid growing up who never saw his team play and was still a fan.
yeah. And that was on TV a lot back then?
No, never.
I was going to say, I mean, the Lakers were good, but this was what time? Probably the 80s?
Well, when I was growing up?
Yeah. Well,
dude, I had grown up at that point.
Were you,
Thank you. I
you look good. I don't know. I guess your kids are more adult now, so you do the math. My math's
I
terrible.
graduated in 83, so I mean.
Okay. Yeah, but so with the 80s, they were really good, right? You
Yeah.
kind of had the Celtic-Laker rivalry.
Yeah.
And so what got you into those teams?
I don't know. I honestly, I had always had a vision that I would live in LA at some time in California. My brother had the same feeling, and we moved out there together. Two guys with literally a couple $100 and like 4 bags of clothes, and didn't even know where we were going to live, but we knew we wanted to live in California. It was January here, and we're like, he was already going. And he's like, dude, his friend bailed out on him. He goes, do you really want to live here? I mean, I was working construction at McDonald's over where they were building the
original, or the one before this.
Yeah, not at McDonald's, but where they were building the townhouses. All those. What are those townhouses?
Wildwood.
What is it?
Wildwood.
Yeah, all the
ones that go closer to go closer to the West Bay
No,
Plaza.
the one on the lake. The ones on the lake, right?
Yeah, so if you go McDonald's, I think it's Wildwood, and then you go into like the other ones between West Bay Plaza and there's like a apartment complex.
They're the original ones anyway.
Okay.
And I was there, and I was young. It was my job at that point. It was January. We were trying to dig footers for foundations for the posts on the porch. Which, I mean, I don't even know if that was a job. I think they were just had me do it to, for nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyway, so I had enough of that. And my brother called me, hey, my buddy bailed out. He's not going to California with me. You want to go? He goes, I'll pay your ticket. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. So 2 weeks later, we were out of there.
So, okay, so what brought you back to the area?
Quality of life.
Yeah.
I moved out there. There was not really a whole lot
Good
going
for like
on.
a young single guy kind of thing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, no other place you'd want to be than LA when you're single, But I got a little bit older, and my kids are getting older, getting ready to get into school.
Yeah.
I never wanted them to have to go to school there in that craziness, and I always thought that someday I'd probably move to a different part of the world, country or whatever, and. This kind of came up by accident. I'd come home for a visit. My grandfather was sick. I'd been real close to him. Mm-hmm. They had an old for sale sign, painted on plywood on the front yard, for sale. I get there. I kind of have this like spiritual awakening of, wow, why am I in LA? If I want to come someplace, why don't I come home? I talk to my grandparents. We make a deal where I put in a mobile home next to them, kind of take care of them. We buy the place. I call my wife. What do you think about it? I'd go tomorrow. Did I marry the right girl or what?
So you met her in L.A.?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and she's from Finland, right, originally?
Yep.
Because I see you guys, when you travel to Finland, have cool photos. So
Yeah.
So now your sons live out in California.
Yeah.
So they moved back here, or moved back.
They were transplanted back here by force.
So they're just like California boys by heart. So.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So and they've obviously, well, I mean, from what I've seen, have done pretty well out there. At least the stuff they're doing is pretty cool. So I just like living vicariously through their photos and videos and stuff.
Me
and I think
too.
they're doing like music videos now for people.
Yeah.
And
They're here right now, actually.
are they?
They flew in, what? No. Yeah, they flew in like 3 days ago.
So yeah, somewhere in that.
Yeah, they're doing a shoot for, I don't know if I can say who.
No, that's okay. We won't give it away.
Yeah, they're doing
We'll,
something.
we'll let
here.
it drop.
Yeah.
But they're doing. I know they're doing some music stuff out west, which look pretty cool. So
Yeah.
And they're making a name, you know what I mean? They're hooking up with some big people, and they're making their own way, and they don't they make their own money. They survive. They're happy, and I mean that's pretty cool stuff.
yeah, it looks like they're having fun, like the
Yeah.
stuff they're doing and stuff they like. So I mean, like I said, I'm always envious of like what they can do with the camera and what they can do with like just editing. And I'm like, God, like
I know, we got to get them in here when they actually have a second.
Yeah, because I'd pick their brain for. I mean, there's so many things I want to ask them because I mean, probably annoyingly they're probably like, okay, but
No,
like
they would love it.
Yeah.
they're good. I mean, the stuff they do from things I've seen, they're very, very good. Like their skill set is just like, I mean, on par. I think from my like, probably, my eyes, I guess, being just very professional in everything they do with that. So it's pretty cool. Now, Rustic Pines, kind of give us the background. How did this come to be? Probably from the brainchild of you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was definitely a collaboration. But when I was in Florida, I was working at Streamsong Golf Resort doing weddings and events, and I was like in a lull of like, do I want to stay in Florida? Do I want to move home? I remember I was like, what am I going to even do if I move home? I was like, I can get a job at the ARC, like that's where my mom works, and I was like, I'm never going to make like the money that I was making like serving and like doing weddings and stuff. And then at the idea of just like running a bar, like building a barn, you're a contractor. And I was like, what about the Kelly Road? Like we've always wanted to build on there. We wanted to do apartments. And
Yeah, that's what we had originally. I would always thought that.
Because this is behind the home. This is like extension of your property,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep. I always thought that someday her and I would be in some kind of business. I thought we
were going to do apartments.
Yeah.
So like when I was coming home, I was like, yeah, like we can do the apartments on the side. Like I would manage them. And then just like, I was like, wait, why am I not doing something with what I think the Taylor rental job or something had popped up for event coordinator. And I was like, why don't we just build a venue? And he was like, we're doing it. I feel like we started getting the plans together. You started like rough sketching it like in the living room. You're like, we're going to do this, post and beam.
Yeah.
He's like, we can get all rough cut. Like it was just like an idea that instantly
Just like caught fire.
Yeah, as soon as we talked about it, it sparked. And like we went right to I moved home, started working at Claire and Carl's, and we just started getting everything together, and we went right to the town.
That was a big thing. She asked, do you think we could build something like that in the Kelly Road? And I don't know if you remember, I said, well, we have to go see what it's zoned for. And we went down and saw her. I called as soon as we found out it was zoned for.
We were so nervous too, though, because it's so hard to like, with like permits and building and all that. We're like, what if this isn't a thing? We went there and they were like so excited to like have it in Schuyler. Well, we're a town of Plattsburgh, but it's basically
it's town of Schuyler Falls.
Okay,
town of Schuyler Falls. Yeah,
but the address is like weird because it still says Plattsburgh or whatever.
Plattsburgh mailing address, but town of Schuyler Falls.
Yeah.
So when you guys thought about this, when did you think about it? To when did you start? I say break ground, but when did you start working on it? Because you had to take trees down too, right? Because wasn't that all wooded?
Yeah, and again, the catalyst to this thing happening and why it became like instant is, first of all, I'm a builder, so my daughter asked me if I can build something. My daughter is great at what she does, and I believe in her 100%. So that made it easy.
It's got the sunnies on at least.
I got to pull myself together.
No, it's all right. I was gonna say my daughter's 2, but I'm already like I'm such a softie for my
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's when it started for me. You know what I mean? It don't get any easier. But yeah, so I mean, I've got this person wants to do business with me and believes in me, and I obviously believe in her. So that was a no-brainer. But as far as getting it started, that was the next step was we had to and we found out it was zoned for what's called special use. But then you've got to go in front of the planning department to find out if they want that in their town. Like special use could be a strip bar, could be a regular bar, could be, anything special use other than, residential duplexes, apartments or whatever. So that's how it came. And you want to tell the story about we were waiting for a day in the front of the planning board, and it was supposed to be on such a date or whatever. And we hadn't heard anything. So tell them about how all of a sudden.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What, we didn't hear anything. Where were we? We were at a basketball game.
We were getting ready to go to a basketball game.
Peru, Saranac or something. We were there, I thought. Or were we? No, we were on our way. We were about to go. We're getting in the car to go to the basketball game, and Bill from the planning, he calls and he's like, "Hey John, where are you at? Like, we're about to start your project and go over everything." We're like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, it's going on right now." And we're like, "Oh my God, we'll be there like right now." So like on our way to Peru, we just like dart and go to Schuyler Falls to like go to this meeting. We don't have any, like, we don't have anything. We're like, okay. He's like, "You don't need anything. Like, we're just going to talk about it, blah, blah." So we sat in front of like 7 of the board members and basically kind of just pitched it to them. And they were like, "We want this. Like, we want this in the town." And I think from there we had another meeting for the permit.
Yep, we had a few different.
So I had to write up a business plan of like how we were going to do it, what we were going to do, whether we were going to do the food portion, and I knew I didn't want to get involved with food.
What was this, 18 to 19?
This was
2018, 2019?
Yeah, because I had just gotten, it was midway through 18 is when I moved back from Florida.
And then you had a year at Taylor, so 19. So yeah, it was 19.
We got the business name approved in 18, December of 18.
Okay. Because I think we met in 19. Beginning of 19?
Yes, because I was at Taylor.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Because
Okay.
I think that's kind of how we...
Well, I think you had started the process of, well, I say process, visually seeing the process, like when I see it on like Instagram and hear you talk about it, was closer to the end of 19,
Yes.
going into 2020, because I remember
Breaking
the pandemic
ground,
hitting,
yeah.
and that kind of like, that give you a lot, the pandemic, that give you a lot of time?
It did actually. It's got my
Almost
2
like a
sons
blessing?
back here.
Yeah,
So,
blessing in disguise for
Yeah.
us. Like,
it really was in a lot of different ways. Yeah, for sure.
So the plan. So you came up with the idea. You started the whole process probably about a year from the start to.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably got the idea, the wheels turning quickly, and then obviously with the planning, it takes time. And
Well, I think we were our
legal.
start of it, like with the planning part and all that, because obviously it was basketball season, so it was wintertime. So there was that. We were able to go. We didn't lose any time building because it was wintertime. So we were able to, the starting time was getting through the permits, dealing with all that, planning the board and all that, which all went relatively quickly. I remember it was June when we got our permit.
for the size. Like, remember we were out in the snow, like spray painting, like where we wanted to lay it, how we wanted to lay it.
Yep. And then it was pretty quickly after that things started to really roll. I mean, I think we only had about 7 or 8 months of actual work time before we had a structure.
Yeah, because it went up quick.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think when you guys had first cleared the lot, and then I think like getting ready to, you guys were like tampering down the to put down the base.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that was like
Yeah.
early on, and of course when you see something, like anything else, when you build, it's like everything just looks like not, obviously it's bare almost. Like you said, you got like kind of like stakes in the ground. You got some like, you guys know what you're building, but like everybody else is like, what is this going to be? And now you look at it and like, holy crap, this thing is huge.
Great story for that. I'm in a yoga class, and there's these girls talking, and one of them lived like in our neighborhood, and we had the sign out front on the military turnpike saying Rustic Pines Wedding Barn coming soon. So one of the girls says to the other girl, she goes, "Yeah, did you see that thing for the new wedding barn over in Schuyler Falls?" And the one girl goes, "Yeah, my husband and I saw the sign and we drove down there and there's nothing there."
It's coming soon. Yeah.
I'm just sitting there beside her and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not telling her that's my place.
Under construction. Have you gotten, I mean, I say I like rubberneck down, but I'm sure you've gotten people that have driven down, just kind of like circled around and
All the
looked. And,
time.
like,
what do we call them? Lookers or... that's a looker. I'm trying to think. There's something else.
I was definitely in that category.
Another
That-
term we use.
But it's funny because I've had that property for 20 something years, and usually I logged it. I used to cut the timbers there I had a sawmill. I'm building storage buildings and gazebos, which was my ability to stay home, get these guys on the bus, coach all their sport teams. I got to make my own way, and I was at home doing this. So that property's been there for a long time. I hunt back there. So I know that road. I know who goes down there. There's only a trucking company down there at the end of it. So I know the people who go down it. Since this project, super traffic. So people who think that they're just kind of cruising by and nobody will know. No, I know what you're doing because I know.
Sometimes
was-
I try to
and
wave,
I love
and
it.
people are like, don't want to like stop.
I
or,
like
let
drove
me
down. I
wave.
spun around, and I think you were doing something in the yard, and I caught you like as you were walking out, and I stopped and I said like, "Good job," or I think I said who I was, and but yeah, I was totally just kind of glancing at it because it looks cool. Like I went and there was like a dirt turnaround.
I do
faced
that.
around.
I honestly do. I drive down there.
Just to take a peek at it.
Yeah,
It's
to me-
visually really cool from the road.
To this day, and this isn't arrogance, this is gratitude. To this day, every day that I drive by there or walk into that place, I look at it and just go, wow, this happened for us.
Like
You
last
know,
night, we were standing on the road,
yeah.
like as the sun was going down after it got stained, and we're like, dang.
And
we literally built this from the ground up.
It's absolutely incredible. And so the plans for it, how do you come up with plans for that? Did you sketch it? Did you find a plan? Did you find like?
John D literally made the plans. And
Really? Because this blows my mind. When you
stamp.
talk when you talk about like getting construction, but having the visual, like being able to visualize what you need and where you need it, and like I keep seeing all the little details now that you're adding, all the finishing work, and it's like it's like if you read a book and you like, did you read Harry Potter books?
No.
Okay, that's
Twilight,
fine.
as a Twilight.
Okay, we'll take Twilight. So if so
I'm
if you
out
take,
on both.
okay, but if you take like a series of books and like you read the first book, second book, and by the time you get to the end book, you're like, wait, they've been building on this like theme. They already had this book written, but they were doing all these like the first books. That's what I feel with this barn. It's like, or the wedding venue. It's like the stuff we're seeing now. You've had planned out for close to 2 years now, and now it's just finally taking shape. Oh, I see. There's probably some small details like what exact lights, but most of the stuff is like just starting to like just completely gel together. It's awesome.
There is a lot of truth to that, and that's what makes it pretty neat. It's also why I get so emotional for the shit, man.
This is why we don't do it live and like on camera. You're good, Jack.
Man, that's brutal because it's it has been a lot of hard work. I've always maintained that we're so grateful because it's went so smoothly. Mm-hmm. I've done way smaller projects and had much. It's went really smoothly, but it's also to have that vision and to put your heart and soul. We did this all in cash. We didn't take out any loans.
Wow. I was going to ask you.
We did it all ourselves. That girl right there, my two sons, and a buddy of mine helping out, built this whole entire place. We subbed out the concrete foundation, although we did the stamp concrete, and we subbed out just the metal roofing. That's it. Everything else we did ourselves. And so to have days where you're not even sure you're going to be able to pull this off, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you just go, wow, am I going to embarrass myself, my family, or, am I going to get this done? And you get up the next morning and you just go, well, I'm going to go give it another try. And when you sit back like we did yesterday, and we're sitting at the road looking at the staining of the overhang and saying, this is done now. What a difference it makes. And I'm looking at the building that I remember her and I and Dylan out there spray painting where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And then I remember being out there again with her and the excavator, the concrete guy, and we're laying it out, and I'm measuring setbacks from the road.
Yep.
And I've got her, okay, exactly how do you want this building sitting? And she's out there going, I want bring it this way a little bit more, bring it this way. No construction background other than the fact that she's lived in the construction.
Yeah.
My kids have never lived in a house that hasn't been under construction, except for where they live now since they got out of our house. But I mean, I think it's probably still a pretty good background too, right? But to be out there at that road, and as I'm sitting at the road, I'm saying to her, I'm going, look at the way you position this thing.
Yeah.
You've nailed it from the way the sun rises to the way the sun sets.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
How in the heck do you not get emotional? Because she was that 2-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Not that long.
You're going to make me cry, John.
No,
You're talking
no.
about.
Oh,
shoot.
shit.
I told you it was going
Hey,
to happen.
John's. What did we? We lost actually. There we go. We're back. So John said before, actually, John, that we would take the under on this. So John goes, how long before I knock something out or knock my headphones? So you're the first guy ever. Two things, actually. Only guy to wear sunglasses in here. So, which is fine. It's all
Kanye
good.
West.
And then number two is first guy to rip the mics out. Not the mics, the headphones. And we said over under 30 minutes. So it's actually 23 minutes. So
No way.
If you took the under, you would have won. But yeah, no, I like look at my, she's a 2-year-old daughter, but she's like, obviously doing stuff now, and I'm like, this kid is gonna like, I'm just gonna have a difficult time because I'm such a softie, especially with it. I have one daughter, so it's like I'm very similar to you, 2 boys and 1 girl. So
cool. Nice.
But where did you think you got that from? Like, because you got a good vision. I mean, with like I said, wedding planning and everything else. Is that natural? Is that something that?
I feel like I got it from you, but also just like it's such a visual. Everything about weddings and stuff is all about visual, and just like turning from the road and coming down the road, the way that you see it when you're driving, when you first approach it to where you're going to be entering from the parking lot and stuff. Like there's so many like different components that go into it for the visual and that's the thing. I feel like there's so many little things that I'm like, we need to get that up because that's what the brides care about. Like compared to like the little construction things, like I see the little things that other people visually can't see prior when it's just the skeleton. So I feel like that's how we've been able to like collab.
Oh yeah, that's the partnership to a T.
Well, the other thing too is like you know exactly what you want. So there's not like a lot of decisive. Like, are you guys pretty like firm on what you want, or is it there's a lot of decisiveness, or
when
you just kind of
like no? When you say you guys, it's kind of funny because I'm learning from her what she wants and what people want, and I'm putting it in motion. You know, there's certain things to the building industry that I know after, 30 something years of being in it. She doesn't know, but she knows what she wants. And my job is to give her, just like she's my client, but she's my partner, exactly what she wants. And it's fun and it's easy because she doesn't want anything that's unreasonable. She wants things that are going to make us successful. And that's a blast. And we can do it because, we're owners. We're the creators. We're the builders. It's really a great, for me to end my career, and this is really going to end my career as far as the building goes. I'll always be building around there and doing stuff, but I'm not going to be out building for the public anymore. So to be able to end it on this note, which is basically a builder's dream, to be able to do and create something his own way with, and then add, family with it. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, I think that when you said this is probably one of the easiest projects you've had. It's just
100%.
Because you guys are all in the same, like you guys are just like locked in. Like you guys know what you want. You're in tune. You're just like, there's no, your vision's not different from her vision. It's not different from, and obviously, Pat and Nick having a hand in it. I mean, they have their own, I'm sure they had opinions and stuff.
Yeah, they're creative. Like we've not argued, but like,
oh yeah,
Nick,
we've argued.
Nick is
we've fought.
Nick will question everything that we do, and like actually today was like one of the first times that like Nick was like, "Wow, okay." Like he's like, "You got to get the lighting right. Like you got to make sure you order all this and that." And today, like we have all the lights on in there right now, and he was like, "Wow!" Like even he said to me like the vanity lights.
Yeah.
He's like, "You got the warm tone there, but then you have the commercial lights that hang down on top that you need." And he's like, "It sets the tone so perfect."
Nice.
So like hearing that from Nick, because he's such a criticizer, was like super cool.
And the other thing is, if you look at that venue, the main big window at the top was part of the original plan. The 2 side windows were not. And that was Nick's as we were building. So when you
is that for light, like natural light coming in?
Yes, for photography, because you need the light for photography.
So that was added in. So when you say like there was this vision and this exactly of the plan, to a certain extent, yes. But there was a lot of things that developed along the way as you're building something like this that, hey, let's do this. And that was one of them.
And we had that freedom because we were doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not like we had to go talk to someone and be like, hey, can we do this? It's like, no, we want to do this. Let's do it.
You could do it on a dime. You literally could say, let's do it. And like, yeah, let's do it.
So that was Nick's deal, those windows. And I can't even imagine not having those windows now.
Well, I think like the hard part when planning, like you said, planning this out for 2 years is trying to figure out all those little nuanced things. Like you said, for the lighting, it's like, okay, well, I didn't even think about that. We're looking at positioning. We're looking at what color we want. We're looking at post and beam and all this. And then you start those small little details that it's almost like when you build a house and you find out there's a thing in your house like, God, I hate how this counter is like 6 inches too narrow or something. And it just bugs you forever. And it's like, why didn't we just, hindsight? And it's trying to get ahead of the hindsight and saying what should we do prior? And that I think is the hardest part of planning. It's like foreseeing issues and trying to come up with the issues before. And, so
and you're good with that. Like he sees 10 steps ahead of the game, like being in the construction. If I put it like this, like what if, I don't know, like 10 different things happen from here in 10 different scenarios. He's really good at like foreseeing.
Otherwise you're tearing stuff out and you can't be tearing stuff out.
And same with like the wedding too, like with the kitchen, we weren't going to have 2 doors in there. And then we were like, we need 2 doors in there because
just
in hindsight, it's just going to working in a kitchen, like only having 1 door, it's constantly. So why not make it easier?
Yeah. So how's the what's the square footage of the venue, like the main, what do you want to call it? Main, I say dance floor, but like the main hallway or main.
So the whole entire footprint of the building is 6,000 square feet, and then 14 feet, give or take, wide by the whole length of the building by 100 feet is the house side. Bathrooms, bar, prep kitchen, bridal suite. Mm-hmm. The other side is you've got 30, 44. I'm going to get the math wrong, and everyone's going to be going, that doesn't add up to what he just said. Give or take a couple feet here, folks. So, it's going to be 14 plus 30, right? So 34 feet by 100 feet long is basically the main area.
So the main area goes from door to door.
Yeah.
So you can see basically right through.
Yeah.
Open floor plan. They can design it however they want. I have a CAD program that they can put all their tables, chairs, and
nice.
They can put the dance floor wherever they want. Like, I really wanted the clients to come in and just have this blank canvas to do what they want.
Oh, so you can reposition stuff.
Yeah.
You can put like the head of the table at one end versus the other. Now you have doors all along. I don't know what direction this would be. I guess the west side. Is the west side facing away from Turnpike? The main side, like you're staying by the road, you see like on the side, you have doors throughout there, right? Big doors.
Yeah, I don't know north, south, east.
Yeah,
well, I always figure it out by the sun rises and sets in the west. So the sun comes up over the back of the building and sets into the front.
I'm thinking the road is your north side.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
Or
So
northern
road
side,
front
right?
doors. Yeah, there's three main entry doors.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have one on each end and you have one in the middle,
Yes.
kind
Correct.
of deal. And
Yeah.
those are those like you leave those open during the day, like nice days, just to kind of like
Yeah, 'cause
airflow
with
and
the fans and everything, it's like a natural like circulation of air,
yeah,
which is nice.
So was there any limitations when you guys were building this that it's 6,000 square feet? Did you want it bigger? Did you want it smaller? Did you want it laid out differently? Were there zoning issues?
No, we went big right from the beginning.
Yeah.
We didn't want to mess around.
Yeah.
We really did. And that's kind of pretty much been
To grow
my
into it
style
if you
in
had to.
Everything in life is, if you're going to do something, man, do it big. I mean, make sure that you're not,
Extra space is not a bad thing, especially in something like that.
But we did it to where we didn't get into like other areas that we couldn't build on, right?
No, not really. I mean, we actually put ourselves into the next level of having to have like a sprinkler system and all that stuff. So we definitely, put things into a larger scale. I mean, we could have scaled back. People say it all the time. Why did you have to have the ceiling so big? Why is it
how
so
high is
tall?
the ceiling up?
34 feet.
Wow, that's to the peak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because you have it goes up and then it goes up. I say goes up. I mean, my hand.
Actually,
you guys can't see this on the line or radio, but it goes up and then it peaks and then goes back up, almost like what's that called? Center.
It's called
I'm like trying to make like a house. Right. It's like taking a little Monopoly house and putting it on the center of this big barn because you have like that middle section that goes up.
Yeah, I've heard it called a Kentucky barn. Some people refer to it as something else, but I like the Kentucky barn because it just sounds cool. But horse barn, if you had any horse barn, and that's really what we're replicating is down the center is your aisle, and then the two side shed roof styles. I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah. So you're explaining it way better than I was.
Yeah, but the two, so you basically got an aisle down the middle and then two shed roofs off to the sides. Those were the box stalls in those type of, barns.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we were going for, that same type of look. But the other thing I wanted to mention too is that, you're talking about being able to visualize and create, and you're one of those guys. There's people, and you ask them, where do you think you got it from, or where do you learn
let's
it?
Say there's 4, maybe your wife. I don't know your wife, but let's say there's 5 Demarises, then it's me. So you guys are, I'm behind you guys on this. I appreciate though.
You create, like she's a creator. My sons are creator. They're using theirs. I mean, they're good in the construction. But my son Pat, same thing. I mentioned Nick on a couple of the window ideas and stuff. But same thing with Pat. I mean, throughout the course of the job, and of course, I can't think of anything specific right now. But I guarantee, I know. There were things that he came to us with.
Pat challenged all the time.
Yeah, and I respect that. I mean, it drives me crazy when it's happening.
Yeah.
And we'll get into our little things, but it's always, and that's the beauty of our family, is that we will come at you and we're going to tell you what time it is, and then you go evaluate it and figure out if it is that time or not. And maybe it's half that, maybe it's not, or maybe you totally disagree, and then it's done. But that's the beauty of what we do. We challenge the crap out of each other over everything. My wife does not have that gene. We compete about everything. Like we're in the yard playing.
Yeah, she's just, everybody be nice. Just be nice. Like she won't even know what the conversation was.
We play basketball together, tennis together, against whatever. It's like blood. I mean, there is no...
Dude, Nick D, last time we played basketball, Nick D was literally like...
Yeah, that's just what... And my wife
heated taking him out, and you're like, okay, yeah, my knees are just... he wanted to so bad, like, to take him out, too, but, like, he's like, shit.
I was going to say, you're extending your career right there.
Yeah, like, this might
you're
be
like LeBron right now in the league.
But that we compete over everything. I mean, we are just so competitive about, and my wife just can't even... She doesn't have a competitive bone in her body.
Yeah.
You want it? Have it. Take it.
Just nice balance. Nice balance. So is your wife involved at all, or is she just more of like, again, make sure that you guys are all getting to the finish line?
Yeah, she'll bring us lunch. She helped me with the flower pots the other day.
Yeah, planning. She keeps me from killing them guys. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Talks up the wall and
to me it's the classic case of in the football you see the guys running to the sideline, and they're waving to the camera. Who do they say hi to every single time?
Must be mom.
You never hear those guys say, "Hey, Dad, what's up?"
Yeah,
so,
Dad's
hey,
an afterthought.
Mom, it's all mom. Well, that's why, because dads, they give you your structure and the backbones, and the moms keep us from killing them.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. So she's like the football mom. They go home. When they're at the construction site, they're going to be yelling, "Hey, Mom!" They're going to be yelling, "Hey, Dad."
Hey, see what we did? Where's Dad? I don't know. I forgot about him. He fell asleep on the excavator. But I mean, the four of you guys kind of like polishing ideas and getting different input. I mean, you're bringing out the best in everything. So it's like really the product that you're going to deliver is like could not have been delivered with any of the missing links kind of deal.
No.
Now, is it where you are today? Is it like pretty spot on to what you guys had originally for your vision? Is there anything much different from the original plans, or is there anything where you're, like I said, when you say compromise, but did you have to rethink some stuff, or like, well, we really wanted to have this, we weren't able to implement it, or hey, here was like a big win that we had that we never even thought about, but it turned out like windows.
Yeah, there's probably more of those than I can't honestly think of anything, and it's also part of the Demarais personality. We don't really spend a lot of time worrying about the crap that didn't go our way. Mm-hmm. And honestly, and I know this sounds arrogant, not much doesn't go our way. We work hard, not saying that, but you're that way, dude. You're a winner. You
gotta, I think if you have a vision and you plan for it, like when you say, well, a lot of it too, when you say you don't win, it's, like you just said, if you don't focus on the negatives and you just keep I look at negatives, you bounce off of me and it makes me better and I learn from it and I'm like, okay, it sucks, but sucks for a blink of an eye and then I'm focusing on positives.
And law of attraction has been huge. Like every time we had a challenge or something that kind of potentially could have set us back, we're like, it happened for a reason. We're supposed to go this direction. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to work on this part of the venue right now, not that. We'll work on that after. Yeah,
I'm big on believer in that. If something if it bounces you off and you're trying to fight it, but there's another, it's like, okay, maybe it's just meant to happen. There's someone's pushing me that direction just to make it happen. And like the law of attraction, I mean, like we've talked about it, we kind of met through, basically you guys you and Anna cold DM me on something, but then it was you kind of hit it off but I think it's just your personality and people that are driven and people that want to succeed, you naturally tend to gravitate towards those people.
Sure.
And get away from the negative Nancy kind of people where you're like, dude, I don't have time for negativity because I'm too busy.
That's why I worked so well with Anna. That's why we were just dream team. No drama. I remember when we both got hired, everyone was two girls working together and we were just, it was the best.
Yeah.
We didn't focus on any negatives or.
Yeah, and I think with you guys knowing the final product, you're gonna have speed bumps, but it's as long as you know you're getting bounced back on the track and you got the end goal in mind, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So now jumping to kind of more of the operational aspect of this. So opening day is what day again?
21st
of
August.
August. Okay, so we're about 3 months out right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when do you think when do you think the final it's going to be all set, ready to go? Is this kind of I'm sure the night before you're still going to be working, but really this the main structure. When do you guys plan on finishing?
Jeez, I mean we're getting the epoxy. We're doing really cool epoxy floor. The 13th that weekend of June.
People ask us that all the time, and I my answer to that is by the 21st. You know, to me, I can't impose those deadlines on myself. I don't even think to do that. I'm grinding every day.
Yeah, that's the construction.
Right. Just get up and grind.
Well, even if it's not finished by the first day, it's still going to look like 95. I mean, everybody's going to say it looks finished, and you guys will always, I'm sure, always be tinkering with certain things and always improving.
And that's the point of it too. Is like so many venues around here, it's the same thing. Every event you go to, I won't say anything, but you go to the event and it's the same way.
You know what to expect,
every time. So we want our venue to be different every single time. Like this year, we won't have a groomsman suite, but for 2022, we're going to have a groomsman suite. Like we're constantly wanting to have different things and change things up.
How much of a property, I guess going forward, obviously, like you're starting out, so kind of not putting the cart before the horse, but if you have extra land, like you said, adding a groom suite, or is there other plans that you guys are like, okay, phase 2, phase 3?
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's what I was getting at as far as a deadline. I don't think I'm able to impose any kind of deadline on myself because I don't see this place ever being finished.
Yeah,
I mean that's like saying, when are you going to stop, growing?
Yeah,
that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
This place is going to be always something to do, always something to make it greater.
How much land do you have to work with?
We got plenty.
Yeah, so there's, land's not going to be a limitation.
No,
okay,
exactly.
Cool.
And across the street is an osprey breeding ground, so like nothing can be built around us or in front of us, which is nice.
Almost got her again.
Yeah.
Oh,
he nicked it.
So going in plans in the future, because that was one of the things I wanted to, like, because I know my guess is what you just said, that this is going to be ever evolving and that there's never really going to be a finish. And you probably wouldn't want to finish too. If you're just like driven, it kind of just keeps you motivated. And what's the next thing? And,
right.
Now, the finishes of the barn, was that more you? Was that more like the stain, the look, the dark tin?
I'm taking credit on the stain 100%.
Yeah, I know.
Because nobody would have had my back on that.
Would you want lighter, darker?
Lighter. Everybody wanted to go lighter, natural wood. Even people driving by that I don't even know will now come to me and go, when you first had that little bit of stain on there, I was like, oh my God.
That was me. Not that it was bad, but it wasn't. When you said barn, I was envisioning a lighter tone or white or something, and then I saw the dark, and I'm like, wow, it wasn't bad. It was just like it's kind of like my table, I guess, my desk.
Yeah, it's mahogany.
Yeah, that's what that is. So I was, but kind of seeing it took me by surprise. Again, not in a bad way, just totally shifted what I had in my mind.
And that's what we wanted at the same time. We're like, we don't want to be another cliche barn. Like, we wanted this to be different.
Well, with the I say black. Is it black? What's the dark? You have like the gutters and you have
black.
Is it just black?
That's been the theme. I guess that kind of results back to you coming from California with the black theme with the brackets.
The black looks awesome. It's just a very sharp, like really draws your eyes to it, and
I think
the tin roof is amazing. I love it.
My vision wasn't necessarily that dark either. I was on board with the light until one day all of a sudden I don't know if I saw the stain first or whatever it was, but in my mind I had this carriage house look.
Yeah.
Like you see in the doors. It's something that was just, and so like when you say that you didn't have that vision of that dark, and then when you saw it was just like, wow, that was my vision, to shock people. To have people just go, whoa, what? That's not normal. That's not what people do.
It's pretty dope.
That's not what I've seen. That's who I am. My buddy says all the time, he goes, boy, you just love that shock value, don't you? You just love that shock value.
Well, it's when you start dragging it all together, like you said, now you have the walkway, and you're starting to add the stones, you're starting to add the plants, you're starting, like, you can see it just slowly get pulled together.
Yeah.
And it's almost, again, like another analogy, like you watch one of those like cliffhanger movies where you have all these things, or a series, and everything's swirling around all these storylines, and they start to connect at the end. It's like you're really starting to see this whole thing being brought to life, and it's cool. I mean, like I said, usually when you scroll through Instagram, you see the same things over and over again. Like I see, you guys are one of my main things I see. That's why I see like every post. I love it. Like every time I see a post, I'm like, I sit there and I look, I zoom in, I do like all the nerdy stuff, but it just looks really cool. Like,
so I hogged up the staining, but the interior finish now, that's this one right here.
Oh yeah, when I was going through, I was like, I'm going to Champlain Electric to talk to Biz. Like, he's like, all right, yeah. So I picked out everything, and so now that it's all coming in there, It's
Yeah.
like
And I didn't always agree
lights look- yeah.
with some of the stuff. I'm like,
a lot of it's more modern and like you don't see that in
More
Plattsburgh.
industrial, yeah.
So I really wanted to
And again, it's-
contrast the rustic.
it's how we vibed off of each other. You know, I had a vision, she had a vision. They were very similar. They clash sometimes. Like there's certain things like I'm all about like, hey, so I'm going to think, what do you think? And she's like, no. And there's a certain way that she'll go, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll see. You know, that's, you know, we can work with it. There's the other one was like, I don't know. That means no. She's
He
not
sees
into
it
at
right,
all.
and I like it just shows in my face.
And I love that.
When
I mean,
he
I
wants to
want
put
that.
like an antique somewhere or something, I'm like,
No, you're right.
I like the idea, like you said, you're kind of morphing like the old barn, like the 1800 barn type deal, merged with like modern decor in it, because I think that's one that's trendy now, but two, it's trendy, but not in that sense. Like I find like wedding venues probably don't have that. They're probably still old. Where I feel like yours, you're just adding that modern like flair to almost like a fusion of two worlds.
yeah,
That's her-
modern. Yeah,
What's your
rustic with a modern twist?
Yeah, I think it just
nice.
it drags it out, or like pulls it out. Now, the bar, how's the? Because the bar was really cool, and you just talked about adding like the shiplap up, going up the side. So like,
Yeah.
kind of talk about the bar a little bit. It's usually like the center point of most.
Again, that was, and I wonder if our collaboration, as we're talking about this now, it's kind of occurred to me, you know, where modern meets old has to do with her age and my age.
Yeah.
What my
Yeah.
experience is, what I know is that am I bringing that part of it, and she's bringing the other part of it, and we're melding into the middle of it. You know, I think that's probably has something that I didn't really even think about till just now. But the bar, again, the bar was something that kind of just evolved. We had
We
visions.
wanted a big bar because everywhere we've gone, people are always so jammed up at the bar. And
Yeah.
me working at different wedding bars and stuff, like at the golf resort, I always used to say, like, it was such a pain to have such a small bar because people were all clustered there. And then you wanted like a main, we needed a main focal point
Yep.
in there. And then we were going to do,
Is it centered?
yeah.
Pretty centered in there?
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's centered off the front door.
Yeah,
pretty
right when you
close.
come in through the entry, that's the first thing you see. So we kind of created it to look like an old barn inside the barn. So we've got the tin roof. We're getting ready to put up the old like gray wash barn board on the top. So it's going to literally look like an old barn. And then we're putting all of he gets to have his antiques, but it's only going to be in the bar area because he wanted to deck the place out. And I was like, no, like even when I worked at Taylor Rental,
Like antique farm,
Yeah,
like farm,
yeah.
like
No,
milk
but, like,
can and like
yeah.
wheels and things like that.
and like old bar signage and stuff. So I want the bar to be like a dive bar, and that was the perfect way that we could put all of his cool like trinkets a word?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
All that stuff in there and just like deck it out.
Tchotchkes, right? Or was that another word for it? Tchotchke, or I think so. Trinkets. We'll go with trinket.
I felt like an old person saying that, but yeah.
But to what she was saying about that, and that's always been my thing too, is every time you go to a wedding, it's like they operate the bar out of like a coat closet or like a side, you know, it's like a side gig. And the two biggest things that bother me is you've got that, then you have no place to go to the bathroom after. So that was one of the things that we talked about.
We got big bathrooms.
Let's make the bar the focal point.
Yeah.
Like she said, we ended up building a little barn, and would be more a rustic barn inside of a big, more modern barn with a little, and it kind of developed as we went along. And even the signage, you know, the old dive bar type of thing that we're creating on the interior of the bar was something that kind of came as of late. I almost think like at some point she was like, all right, I got to figure out a spot for him.
Because
to
he
put
kept
these
ordering,
signs.
like, he's always been collecting antiques and stuff. And then out of nowhere, he started, like, ordering all these signs off, like, Facebook Marketplace and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I know he wants these in here, but,
You
like,
need to have like with the groom suite. You need like Big John's Antique, like
Oh,
little
yeah,
like man
like-
cave off the side that people can just
you guys can collab on the groomsman suite. I don't care what goes
like a
on.
little like home away from home kind of thing, like
Right.
second bar out out in the grass area or something.
John's.
All the antiques.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Big John's Antique Shop
Yeah,
or something.
right,
Antique
right.
bar. How long's the bar?
26 feet.
26 feet.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty long.
Yeah.
And bathrooms you said are right about or near the bar.
Right off the bar, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're huge.
Yeah.
What are they? 14 by 14.
Yeah.
Both 14 by 14. Women's has 4 stalls.
Probably the size of this room.
Yeah. Oh, bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah, this 14 is gonna be bigger than this room. 14. This might be 14. This is not. This is probably only about 10, maybe 11. You probably got another 3 feet, 4
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
So 4 stalls in the women's room and 2 stalls and 2 urinals in the men's room.
Now, when you talk about like moving stuff around, like how many different configurations do you think you could put in there? Wow. Obviously, it depends on the size, but like how many? Well, I should say number one, how many people can fit in this venue?
300.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah.
300 is a massive wedding.
Right. If we wanted to do larger, we can do like an indoor-outdoor style because our patio is it's 10 feet wide. So it's exaggerated. We could put like cocktail tables out there and kind of make it like...
On the grass kind of area?
Yeah. So and if we needed to put a tent up or something, we could do larger scale. But I mean, around here in Plattsburgh, I mean, like when I was at the golf resort, we did events for like 500, 600 people. Around here, it's kind of...
I don't know if I've been to a 300-person wedding. A lot of them, like, even 200, like that's a big wedding at times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3, you should be fine.
And we actually designed that building to not cram 300 or 200 people into it. That was the other thing in how we designed it. And we talked very exclusively about this because I don't know, only but the weddings that I went to. Mm-hmm. And I relied on the things that made me uncomfortable, didn't feel good about the weddings I went to. Not, like it was a major thing, but just things that I would thought if I would have
having the foresight of what could come. Yeah.
So by having the 2 doors on the ends and the doors in the middle with the big 10-foot patio that goes all the way around, it creates a natural flow. Mm-hmm. So if you've got 200 people at this wedding, they're never going to have 200 people inside. Between a big 24-foot bar, mm-hmm. giant bathrooms, and a flow that you can be in one door, out the other door. You know what I mean?
So fire pits in the patio area.
Well, especially if it's summer weddings. Like I always like being able to go in and out of a wedding because you want to cool off. And sometimes too, you just want to change the scenery. You want to go out and it's quieter. There's no music. You can kind of chill, have a drink, and relax.
But in doing that at this venue, the way we've created it, you don't separate yourself from the party. You don't separate yourself from the wedding. So, door on the end, and door dead center. You walk out that door, in another 50 feet walk, you're going to be at the center of the door.
Yeah.
You didn't have to surf through the crowd of people to get to there.
Yeah.
There's going to be people drifting out to that door. I really feel like this is going to be something that creates an even better experience for people because of the people that are seeing it. I've heard people saying, "Oh, you were at so-and-so's wedding? I didn't see you."
Yeah.
I don't see that happening here.
Yeah.
It was who was it came to? That doesn't matter. We were at a wedding sometime. I remember Steph said, "Oh, did you see so and so?" I was like, "No, she was there."
Do you guys plan on doing events other than weddings, and do you plan on doing this year round?
Seasonal for now because we just don't want to be tied to it 24/7.
Seasonal forever.
Well, it's a long.
I want to if we can get like a couple like bigger events that we could do just because like heating it and stuff like that we would do annually, like maybe 3 or 4 annual events that we do in the winter. I think would be cool. I do want to do like a masquerade thing for like New Year's Eve.
Yes, you could host some stuff there, right?
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Because you could do, like I said, it's a party. I mean, it's a big party venue. You can even close the doors in the winter. It should be.
And we have in-floor radiant heat. But
it'd be tough because it's not designed.
It's something it's a
seasonal.
It'll be talked about.
Yeah,
Getting Demarais like,
right, we're not doing this here.
If my thoughts are if that's what she wants a place that we could do. I'd think build something because it goes to your point. You were saying you'd have land to expand and do different things. We build something half the size that's winterized, for the winter. And then during the summer months, you could still run that as well, but they would have something for the winter if you wanted to do it. Something a lot different, but still within that same theme, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I'm looking forward to it. And I think, like you said, you have the room to expand. I'm curious, like, can I say decades?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Decades from now, we'll see, like, this thing will just evolve, which would be cool. Yeah. We get to go. I was just seeing if you were gonna, retire at some point, but I doubt it. You don't seem like a guy that's gonna retire.
I just want to be out
because you're the site coordinator.
Yeah, because I am the site coordinator. I tell people all the time I am actually, I'm not retiring, but I'm going to work for my daughter. I'm going to mow lawns, empty trash cans, and get drunk people to be nice.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty good at all 3 of those.
It sounds like a fun time, though,
doesn't it?
Like I
mean,
you want to party? Your boss isn't too strict. I mean, I'm sure
I could make you the assistant site coordinator.
I could be head rubbernecker too, and just going down and like checking out the venue. No, I drive down. I think it's.
Like I'll put you in charge of catching rubberneckers.
How about if I'm at a wedding at the venue, then I'll be your like co-drinking friend. I don't know. We'll do that.
You're
drinking
for free at our venue, man.
Well, either case, we'll hang out. I'm looking forward to it. So I mean, I think it's going to be. I'm sure I'll be there plenty of times throughout the year. So they'll be looking forward to. I just think it's cool. I think what you guys are doing is awesome.
I think what you're doing is awesome. And I got to tell you, seriously.
He says it all the time.
I dig people who get it and get it right and work hard to get it. And I know the first thing you want to do is not be that guy and say, well, nah, that's bullshit. Okay. You're good. You work hard. I'm serious, man. You are, you really,
thank you.
You're out there, you're doing it. And I admire that. Not everybody gets it like that. Lots of hard workers out there. Lots of 9-to-5ers. You're not a 9-to-5er. You're an eat, sleep, and drink your business. And I dig that. And not only do you get that that's your business, but you get to be successful. You have to be interested in other people's business. You have to bring other people along for the ride. It's your job as a successful person to motivate other people around you. If the community's doing well, you're doing well. And you get that. Not a lot of people do, man. And I got to tell you, I admire that a lot.
I appreciate that. And I think that's one of my focuses, especially as I've grown as a person, but business and meeting staff and meeting other people. It's like you start realizing there's so many good people doing good things that it's, like one of my favorite quotes is "Rising tide raises all ships," and it's just trying to support other people in their ventures. Because I have no background in weddings. I mean, I've been to plenty of weddings, I've had fun at them, but when I see the hard work going into something, knowing that, again, I don't know much about contracting or weddings or anything, but I know a project start to finish and kind of seeing a vision start to finish, it's tough because, we're obviously talking about the highlights of it. I'm sure in 2.5 years, there's a lot of tough days. You said getting up 3 a.m. Like people don't see the glamorous side of it. And they see the stuff that, like you said, you got to wake up every day and believe in yourself and say, you know what, I don't feel like doing it, or people are doubting me or whatever. But you got the vision at the end of the day. And it's like, I'm going to make something out of this. And like I said, I think the fact that you guys have family involved is so important, and it, elevates when you're having a bad day, you pick up the slack and vice versa.
It's so crazy. Yeah.
And it's just like, but I don't think people, they see the Instagram posts, which are absolutely beautiful and look great, but I'm sure there's many sleepless nights. There's many negative self-talk days, and there's positive self-talk days. And there's days you're like, why the hell am I getting up and going there for 15 hours today to drive around in the dirt and build stuff? And it's, when you look at, I just think when you look at successful people and they talk about overnight success, this is, and I love how you've documented the whole thing, because you're not seeing an overnight success. You're talking about a couple of years actively there, plus 30 years in the background, plus however, for Steph, even though it's not 30 years, you've had, say 4 or 5 years of but you have a vision and you're like, this is what I want to do. And you're like, your mind's made up and you're like, I'm driven to make this happen. And I think the fact that you guys are just doing it as your tribe or your clan of just the family is really cool. So, that's why like I said, I like you guys a lot. I just think,
and your support for us means a lot. That's why
I was rocking your shirt the other day too. I got to start wearing it out more, but my kids kind of spit up on it, but I like wearing it.
And this is, the culmination of all the things that you just said is why, half a dozen times you see I'm ready to break down into tears, because it's just, when you put that kind of work, and it's like when you see guys in a Super Bowl or win or something like that, you're crying and stuff. It's what it's about. It's because those days of self-doubt, those days of going, I always said, I fear 2 things in my life, and one of them was death. I used to be scared to death of dying. I don't give a shit anymore. Yeah. I mean, I want to live. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I want to live, but I ain't worried about it anymore. I know who I am, and I get it now, and that's going to be okay. But failure is something I'm absolutely terrified of. And I will be that till the day I die, because that's what drives me, is I refuse to fail. That's not saying I haven't failed. Yeah. But I can tell you, I don't like it, and it smells terrible, and it tastes even worse, and I do anything in my powers not to have it happen to me. So to be at the point where this is successful, we've done it. Yeah. We ain't hit the finish line yet, but I'll tell you what, we got a pretty good lead on winning this thing.
Like you said, failure. One thing I call that is fear of not reaching my potential. Because then I look at it, you got one life, and try to maximize it. That if I feel like I'm just not putting in the effort, I'm like, I just feel like I'm wasting my potential. And that's the one thing that always, and I'm not great every day. There's times where I get in a ruts, but I try to talk myself out of it. It's like, you got to keep just trudging forward and just make something happen. Because like I said, if you're going to live, you might as well try to do something cool versus just kind of like, just kind of just like coast. And I'm just not a coaster. I'm just like, like you said, I'm going to fail, but hey, I'd rather fail and grow than just kind of be complacent.
Absolutely.
So
John Wooden has a great saying about how
UCLA, good plug there. I like that.
Yeah,
Nice
you
way to
gotta
slip
get
it
my
in there. That's
voice in
good.
there, right?
That's good.
I gotta tell anybody who wants to, find out, what it takes to be driven, the goal. I mean, John Wooden is one of the all-time greats. I mean, it happens to be that, I love those West Coast, different school teams or whatever. But this guy was amazing. And his thing about,
The pyramid of success or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, if you need anything to motivate you, get that book. I mean, it's amazing. But one of few of my favorites were, be at your best when your best is needed. What that means is that not everybody's got 100% every single day, but there's going to be those days when you got to get it. You got to have it. And we can all achieve that. Mm-hmm. Nobody's running around on 110 every single day.
Yeah.
We're all trying to get there. And the people who can, carry that as high as are there, but be at the best when your best is needed. The other thing is you may only have 70% today. When I was coaching, I used to teach kids that. When you might only be at 70%. That's not a knock on you, but we got to have the 70.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to have all 70
exactly
right now. Tomorrow's a different day, whatever you got, but we got to have that all. If you leaving anything on the table, you're cheating yourself. Nobody else, but you're cheating yourself. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that I love to share with people is people would ask me, man, where do you get this motivation, this drive? And I said, you have it. It's not anything that was directed at me. And I'll use the gym, for example. And people are, man, you're so dedicated. You never miss. You have the same thing as me. There's going to be two voices on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the one that says, you don't need to go today. Don't go today. And the other one is going to be, come on, you got to go. And that's about anything in life. We all have that. The one thing saying no, the one. Neither one are audible, right? You don't actually hear these voices. It's the choice you make to which one you're going to live with. Which one you're going to listen to. That's the difference in success.
Yeah. It's just a discipline. Like I said, and that's it's great.
It's that simple, though. It's not as complicated. What is the meaning of life? And I mean, I'm not going to sound like I'm some great philosopher or something like this, but seriously, I mean, think about it. It's that voice. Which one do you choose to listen to? Which one? That's how simple it is. Mm-hmm. And then move from there.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in my head all day long, probably more than just self-talk all day long, and it's like, I find how are we doing on time? Because
I don't know, I'm having a blast.
4:45. That guy's coming from Vermont, so we're good.
Okay,
this has been it's almost like therapeutic, dude.
No, this is good.
Yeah, it's like days like this when you can escape. The stress
I think
and
that's
everything.
why I'm so emotional. Is that it's just been such a grind.
Well, you probably don't think about it often. You're just in it.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, Galen. And that's what I love about you. And that's this is why I give you the credit that I give you. That's the type of stuff that you're giving to the community. You're giving to me. Here, I'm a guy. I'm killing myself over there busting. But you spent an hour with me today, and I got to tell you, it's like therapy, man. It feels freaking great. I got to stop getting ready to bawl every 2 seconds. But, I mean, that's part of who I am anyway. I cried. There was a coach, and I've cried at T-ball all the way up to CVBL guys at the end of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a mess when my kids get older. Like, I'm gonna probably ask you for some notes here in the upcoming years. No, but I think a lot of it is just like you said when you talk about like self-belief. It's tough, but it is a choice. And when I'm like in my head, I try to. There's negative and there's positive, but I try to coach myself. And my negative is not like you suck. I don't ever look at myself and like you're terrible.
Right.
I look at myself and saying, okay, I know you're not living up to your potential. Yeah. And it's not like I'm not slamming myself. I'm just like recognize you're not doing something correctly and let's pivot and let's just get back on track. Yeah. and I look at myself and I do it a lot. And there's times I focus on stuff, but it's not at the detriment. I never put myself down. I'm always very positive. I'm like, okay, how can we correct a problem? Like if you're in a rut, okay, you're in a rut. Like acknowledge you're in a rut, but what's the next step to get out, or what's the next action we can take? Or sometimes it's like you said, today's a 60-70% day. You know what? That big project you wanted to do, push it till tomorrow. 60-70. Let's just hit 60-70% of what you think you do.
Yeah.
Chalk it up as check the box. Like today's just a check the box day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you feel better, then you grind it out, and that's having that I'm giving myself that opportunity, or not this opportunity, but I'm permission to say, you know what, today's the 70% day.
Well, and what
like
happens?
the days we drive around and get all those little things done.
Yeah.
You said it the other day.
Yeah.
You're like, I feel like I'm not doing what I need to do, but at the same time, we did all those things that we couldn't do on a day that we were 100%.
We're working, yeah. And what happens with that too is you're laying that block for the foundation. You know what I mean? So you're building a foundation on your work, whatever, your project, your school, you know, whatever it is you got going on. So some days you may lay 100 blocks, right? Some days you only get 50 done. You know what I mean? You just, you know, things were in the way, you weren't lined up quite, or what, and that's all. So if you lay that one block, like you're saying, the 50% day or whatever, you come back the next day and you're like, hey, you're building on that. Right? Because, okay, I got at least that, and you feel better the next day because of that. But if you didn't give that 50% because, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. It's like going back to listening to that voice. You know, I only had 50% that day. So that's why I didn't feel like going to the gym. But I listened to the right voice and I went to the gym. I gave the 50%. So the next day, I'm feeling a lot more like I got 100% because look what I did with 50%.
Well, you also leave it too, saying even though it's 50%, it's better than zero. And you kind of leave and you're like, you know what, I was there. Or, you know, I laid, you said like 100 blocks or whatever. It's like, well, it could have been zero, and at least I did 50. So
Whatever
50%
You
more.
ship lap today
What's
because
that?
you
Yeah.
had that meeting with that guy, and you're like, oh, I feel like my day got wasted, but you still finished whatever 10 boards of ship lap, and it was such a huge difference.
And I was grateful.
Yeah.
You know, it was that when even though because we did a big cleanup, I've been wanting to get a cleanup done. We haven't been able to do it for 3 weeks, and I am a nut about a clean job site. And our job site looked like ass for like the last.
Literally
3 weeks.
can't drop anything. Water bottle. Whose is that? Who's this? Why isn't it in the water bottle bucket?
Yeah, that's,
I actually respect that. That'd be me.
so it was. You know, we got that done. Then, like I said, I had a visitor, and the visitor was kind of funny because it wasn't anything for me. This is a guy from California who's just bought a business here. You may even know the guy. He just bought the green room. Great guy.
Okay, cool.
Brett Boyer, I think, isn't it? No, not Brett.
Boric. Brad.
Brad Boric.
Okay.
Brett Boyer.
Kidding with these guys.
BB, a lot of B's.
A lot of B's going on here. But anyways, he's from California. He just bought the green room. A friend of mine, had recommended you need to talk to John Demarais. I came from California.
Yeah.
So I was the guy that was out, you know, didn't really get how to, and he's kind of going through a learning curve, and he's like, hey, you know, dude, come talk to me, come visit with me, you know. So I took almost 2 hours, you know, and I'm talking to him, and he's going, yeah, he can relate, and he's got somebody here he can relate to, because Plattsburgh, as you know, the North Country is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
You don't pick up from California, show up here, and start doing business. You got some things to learn, son. This place ain't the same as anywhere in the universe, right? So I was able to steer him in some good directions, give him some confidence that he's got somebody here who knows who he is. He knew everything I knew about LA that he couldn't believe it. He goes, dude, you are LA. You were definitely, you know. So I was able to spend 2 hours of my time doing what you do, giving back to some guy. And I was rewarded because as soon as he left, I had already done my cleanup because I wanted it clean for him when he came. So that got knocked out of the way, which I wasn't going to do. Then I was all like, okay, I got to get something going and I got to just get in my mood. I wasn't feeling like it. I was feeling like I had 50%. But once I got on a roll, everything just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And that's the law of attraction working.
Yeah.
Because I gave somebody my time when I didn't feel like I had it, but I felt like it was this thing to do. And I shared something with him. He walked away feeling like he had a guy in his corner, and that made him feel better. I walked away and I got things on a roll that all happened because the law of the universe kept anything out of my way so that I could throw up that shiplap. And I finished up probably, 500 square feet of shiplap like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And walked away looking at the bar going, wow, now it's to scale. It's I see it now on 100% vision. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I think, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, it's just, you just got to, like I said, give yourself some time and that rebound effect. Like you said, you went from 50% to, even if it got to 80% today, it's like, hey, we got that. You might leave here today and finish the whole thing. I don't know.
I'm not,
Imagine that.
Well,
he's out there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I'm going hanging crystals tonight.
Yeah, this
on our
one's going back to
chandeliers.
work there, but she's dragging me here to the podcast, and I'm thinking, man, I've been wanting to get into them, but now of all days, now I'm like so grateful. This has been the most relaxing, therapeutic, and fun. It's always great to collab with people who get it. You know what I mean? You don't spend a lot of time throughout the course of your day, working with guys like us who get it and who are driven and who have this vision on. It's just the way it works. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It is what it is. So to be able to sit here and talk and get a little bit emotional and really just recognize that, you know what, kid right here, this girl, young lady, and I have achieved something. My family, my two boys, Nick and Pat, and my wife. She's the backbone of our family. I mean, she's not involved in the actual building and all that, but she's the one who sits back and referees the bullshit arguments and all that, and keeps me from beating the hell out of these guys and all that stuff. So, I mean, it all just comes to recognize and be able to sit here after 3 weeks, because we've really been on a push with the electricians. Ace Electric's come in there and just done an unbelievable job for us. I mean, they're amazing.
They're the best.
Yeah, we've had to bust our ass to stay ahead of them. We weren't expecting it to happen this quickly. So to be able to, it's almost like I finally just, today was the first day sitting in here and just going,
yeah, take a breath.
Man, this is, and thinking about, you're saying all this different stuff, and Stephanie brings up the, the vision that we had last night when we were looking at that and all that, and you're talking about who did the finish, and then she starts talking about the chandeliers that she did, and this one right here did the inside. Rustic Pines is Steph Demarais. I'm the builder, the family built it and all that, but honestly, Rustic Pines, the wedding, the saying where new meets old, or how's that go again?
Rustic meets a modern twist.
Well, Rustic, yeah, something like that. Or
Let her be
the
PR.
The new.
Yeah. Your blank canvas awaits. You know what I mean? Jesus, man, that is the, and people talk about the amount of money. Not about the money. I mean, the vision that she had, and it's being put together. And I'm not going to be around here forever. This building's going to be around for a damn long time. She's going to be around for a lot longer running this business. And I mean, that's kind of, all coming together. That I'm not saying I didn't see it before, but thanks for the opportunity to come in here and sit with somebody who recognizes it. And your support at this point in time has been from the beginning. But when people say, they don't realize how much it means when people tell us, God, your building looks great. Your family did a great job. Man, that erases all the nights that, I doubt myself and go, God damn, what the hell did I do? The people are going to find out, man, I don't know shit. No, I mean,
you got me fooled if you don't know what you're doing, because I think it looks incredible. I await my, every day or every 2 day, just, picture of it. So I think, like I said, you had the night photos with all the lights now. It's just, incredible. It's just
tonight,
popping.
wait for tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'll hold you to it. So I'll be refreshing my screen. But
And I know there's, at least 1.2 million listeners on this podcast, so I want to let
1.3 but now all of LA actually listens to this.
All the people that would have supported, and just, I mean, even something as simple as, hey, your building looks great. If you people had any idea how much that means when we hear it, it's, I couldn't even put it into words. From the bottom of my soul, I am grateful for all the support and the people who say how great the building looks. It means everything.
I think you're in the infancy of good compliments coming your way, because I'm really like I said, I'm excited for you guys, and I think when you start talking about building up the area and everything, stuff like this is needed. It adds that extra layer, and it takes people to do it, and it takes the vision, and it takes blood, sweat, and tears, and I just think you guys are starting, very infancy of something that we're going to see, I say decades, but really, 20 years from now, that whole venue is going to be this massive, I would assume just this massive entertainment place or station, whatever, venues and everything else. It's just going to be.
I'll take any
really
of
cool.
those words. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you said, it's never going to be finished in a good way. Meaning we don't want it to be finished.
Sure.
We want to just keep working at it, and who knows, maybe Generation 3 gets involved down the road, and all of a sudden it's
give me goosebumps.
Then they're hanging out with what do you call it? Big Grandpa John's antique shop. So
wait, do we end it with Big Bad John playing in the background?
Can you play it? Who's singing?
Is this it?
Big Bad John? Yeah, Jimmy Dean.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm sitting. I'm I know it's a name that we've heard before.
Right.
And not Jimmy Dean Sausage, but Jimmy Dean
That's
himself.
exactly what I thought.
This is Jimmy Dean is going to take us out on this episode, but. John, I appreciate you coming on. It was great to talk about this. Because, like I said, I've been a huge fan of this for a while, and I continue to be. And
I'm a bigger fan of yours, man. Thank you for having us. I thank you for what you do. I mean, you're amazing.
No, this was great. I'm glad we got you on, and Steph.
Can we do it again soon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever. I mean,
hey. To get you out to the venue.
Yeah,
we at the venue.
We did. We've done some mobile. We've done 2 mobile ones. So we'll do one. We did one with Anna's friend family
at the
friend
thing.
Yeah, at that venue, and that was awesome. So it's kind of I like going on campus sometimes and seeing it. So that would be at some point we'll do something there. Maybe right at the bar at Rustic Pines.
Awesome. Sounds great.
That'd be great. So John, thank you. Steph, thank you. Big John, play it.
Is this it?
Oh, that is it. So the story about this is, no, you can keep playing it. When I was a kid, we went to a babysitter or like a daycare or whatever. I was young. I was under 5, and we'd take naps. So while we were taking naps, our babysitter would play like this old music because that was just like what she was into, which was fine. It's back around the early 90s. And so this song came on and we always loved it. It was Big John. Yeah. And for some reason, this just stuck in my head as I hear Big John. Didn't know who sang it back then. I was a little guy. But so now it still resonates. It's about a minor, I think. And you listen to, it's just a storyline, but it's great. So we got Big John D and little Steph Demarais. So look out, Rustic Pines, 3 months out. If you have not, what's the location again on Kelly Road? I mean, just drive on Kelly Road.
63 Kelly Road.
63 Kelly Road, right off of the Turnpike. It's really cool. Check out their Instagram if you have not. Steph promises good photos. They are fantastic photos, and we'll see even more with the lights. So, John, Steph, thank you so much. Episode 133 of the Galen Trombley Show. Shout out to Jimmy Dean. Thanks for listening to the Galen Trombley Show. If you want to reach me, you can go on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. The spelling, GaelanTrombley.